What if I told you that you could buy a camera for $50? Yo, so today we're going a little contrastier to normal. Tell me if you like this in the comments. Today we're talking about a $50 camera, a camera that can be purchased today for $50. And yes, that does include the battery grip and the battery charger. Get it from keh.com. Go there now. This is the Canon 10D. It came out on February the 27th in 2003, released by, yes, Canon, Big Daddy Canon, yeah. Being an older camera, it only has 6 megapixels, but do you think that matters? Apparently 50 of my Instagram followers did not think that it matters, because when I posted these pictures here on Instagram, most of you guys thought that the pictures were in fact taken by my 70D when asked, and not the 6 megapixel 10D. Is that a bad thing about my 70D, or is that a good thing about my 10D? I'll leave that up to you to decide. Another thing that's worth mentioning is it is so old, in fact, that it predates the EFS mount. So you won't be able to use any of the cheaper lenses. Those are the crop lenses, the EFS ones, such as the 18 to 55 to 17 to 85 and the 255 to 250. None of those are going to work on this, even though it is made as a APS-C size. Even though it is made as a APS-C size sensor camera. But don't let its old age fool you. This thing aged like cheese or fine wine. Definitely more Halle Berry and a lot less Madonna, if you know what I mean. Another thing that's worth mentioning is it has absolutely no video features. This is good and bad. It's good because when I'm shooting out in the city or I'm at the park, I'm not focused on getting any video. I'm only focused on lining up my shot, making sure the angles are good, making sure my exposure is right, and that's how I like to shoot. I really don't want a lot of obstacles to meet between me and the finished product. This is bad because obviously if you're trying to get a cheaper camera, you might want to start a YouTube channel or something like that, and that's definitely not something that you'll be able to do with this. Another thing that I absolutely love that's worth mentioning is when you press the menu button, it is one continuous menu. That means when you open it up, everything is right there. So you can change your image quality, you can change your white balance, your ISO, everything is right there. None of that Sony submenu mess, no, especially none of that Panasonic submenu mess. It is just a pleasure to use, and I'm glad that they got it right on a camera that is so old. One thing you might find interesting that you might not have seen before if you're a newer photographer is this is a CF card only camera. It only takes CF cards and only up to 8 gigabytes. You can't put anything higher than that. That was a problem for me one time, but when I adjusted to it, it was never a problem for me again. This might be a learning curve if you have ever had a camera and you're just trying to get back into it. But if this is your first camera, just learn how to do this and then carry those skills over to your next camera. It will almost definitely be better than this $50 bad boy. One thing that really gave me a problem, and this was quite annoying, I've never had a camera do this, and I've never thought about this until I got this camera. When I would take this out and I would shoot with it, I would shoot for about 20 minutes before it would automatically turn off, which, you know, all cameras do, but then all of my settings would be deleted, and then I would turn it back on and I'd be like, well, I'm shooting in large JPEG for some reason. So I look it up on a forum, and apparently you have to use a CR2032 battery in order to put in this. If you don't do that, then every time you turn the camera off, change the battery, or it automatically turns off, it will reset the memory in the camera, and you won't be able to keep your settings. It's quite annoying if you don't do that. So if you buy this camera, also remember, get a 2032 or 2025 battery to put in this. If you get this camera, I highly recommend that you also get the battery grip. It's also about $12. That way you can have 2 batteries, double the shooting time. On this kind of DSLR, the battery life is incredible. I can easily, on this bad boy, get about 1,200 shots. About 1,200 shots on one battery. That's great. 2 batteries, easily double that. I keep this thing charged on my dresser, and then when I go shoot, I take it. This lasts weeks. I take it and I shoot a couple hundred shots, and then I set it up on my dresser again. I take it, I shoot a couple hundred shots, and then I set it on my dresser again. I only have to charge it about twice a month. So I have been singing praises about this thing, especially over on my Instagram page. However, I do have some tidbits, some gripes, some things that I don't like very much about this in particular. Number one, this is kind of a slow, clunky camera. Picture grandma's old desktop sitting at her computer desk with her just like where's the internet, that kind of thing. This is one of those. Not all the time though, but when you're taking pictures, it's perfectly fine. However, when you have to change any settings, or when you have to go into the menu, or when you have to go look at your pictures, this is a chugger. This is worse than getting 10 frames a second in Call of Duty. That's horrible. What happens is you open it up, you click the show image button, and you're waiting 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds. If you took a burst, well, I say burst like this thing can shoot fast. This thing shoots at 2.5 frames a second. The internet says it shoots at 3. That's a lie. I counted 2.5 frames a second. Well, when you take a burst and you click that button, you might be waiting a solid minute for it to clear the buffer and then load those pictures into the queue. That is slow. Another thing that I absolutely don't like, it's better than my film camera. I use an EOS 2000 for my average film stuff. I do have another couple of film cameras, but this thing only has 8 autofocus points. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this thing only has 7 autofocus points, and they don't cover very much of the frame, which means you have to do a lot of focus and recompose. My problem with that is I have a lot of fast lenses. Like we're using an 18 to 55 right now. I've got a 50 1.4, a 25 f1.4 over here too. That is not a option if you're focus and recompose is not an option if you only have fast glass. Well, finally, who is this for? Who do I think would enjoy having a camera such as this? That's 2 people. Number one, people like me, people who are camera nerds, photography nerds. If you just love cameras, this is for you. You will enjoy every image that comes out of it, because every image that comes out of it is amazing. Some of the pictures that come out of it, I'm like, I don't even need to edit this. I do not need to edit this. And then I put an edit over it and I'm like, okay, this is gallery good. That's how much I love the images that come out of this camera, sprayed out of the camera. And then you put a grade on it. Who? Person number 2. People who want to start photography but absolutely have no budget. I got this camera here for $50 with the battery, with the charger, with the battery grip, and a lens. It wasn't a good lens, and a lens. The only thing I had to buy extra was a CF card and a CF card reader. Good thing I already had that lying around. I know that you guys might not have it, but I already had that lying around, so I'm not going to include it in the price. Sorry about that. But if you are the kind of person who has absolutely no budget, or if you're the kind of person who just loves photography, this is the camera for you. And I think you will enjoy it a good amount. Once again, everybody, I'm Jay, and this is Justin Loves Photography, the channel where we love photography almost as much as we would like for you to Delaware. Smash that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.